Alright guys, I've got a 15 plus 10 against somebody rated just over 900. So we've got e4 and e5 on the board. Alright, let's go standard. Knight to c6. So we could get an Italian, Spanish. We have the Spanish game, the Ruy Lopez. Okay, so normal main line I think is to kick the bishop and see what its intentions are. I'm kind of inclined to develop though. So let's I'm kicking the bishop, yeah, kind of makes sense, but then if the bishop goes ahead and takes the knight anyway, then what was the point of that move, you know? So I'm just going to bring a knight out. Now he does have bishop takes knight, and if I recapture, this pawn is hanging, but it's only hanging temporarily because I can put my queen here. No, he might do that. Okay, so this is fine. So the pawn's still defended. Can actually move my knight up if I want to, but then if knight takes, pawn takes, I've doubled my pawns. Knight here attacks the bishop though. d6 is tempting because it defends the pawn, however it blocks in this guy. So let's bring out this guy first. How worried am I about bishop takes there? Bishop takes, pawn takes, knight takes. Let's try it. So apparently it's the Berlin defense, which has I think a very boring reputation. I guess that's knight f6 is the Berlin. Let's just rewind. Yeah, this is the Berlin defense. Okay. All right. So white's castled. This pawn is pinned currently. He's got two pieces out and he's castled, which means he's got a development score of 4. I now have a development score of 5 because I've got 3 pieces out and I'm castled. But the difference is that I've only moved 1 pawn. Alright, so attacking the knight, pinning the knight on the queen. Fair enough. Could play this knight move now. See, if he takes, I'm just going to recapture with the queen, so that's fine. So let's play this knight move. Then think about getting out my final bishop. So the bishop's now under attack. My opponent needs to spot the attack. And what's he going to do? I mean, he's got a couple of options. Move the bishop. You know, he's got a couple of squares he could move to. Or capture the knight. If he captures the knight, I think I'll probably capture with the bishop. And then think about moving pawns up, I think. It's a 1-15 game. So, okay, he's missed the hanging bishop. Unfortunate. So what he should do in this situation is say, well, first of all, what's undefended, and then what's under attack. Okay, that is both undefended and under attack. So this is not a counter-attack, because the piece that's being attacked can go ahead and capture. All right, so he's grabbed a pawn. There's no other real threat right now, so I'm inclined to play d6 and kick the knight away. Can't go there, really. So I think d6 looks reasonable. Also opens up a line for my bishop to come out. You should expect blunders at under 1,000, but you should also be ready for blunders, whatever level you're playing at. Never assume that your opponent is not going to blunder. Okay, still this knight is pinned, I can't move him. Could bring my bishop out to here and attack the knight again. I'm up a piece, so any equal exchanges, minor piece for minor piece, rook for rook, queen for queen, will only be in my favour. I do need to resolve the issue of this pin on the knight at some point, probably. He's got pawn forwards, but then I just capture, you see. Okay. Now if I push, if he goes to b7, he's got a fork on bishop and queen. If I don't do that, he can capture the pawn with a fork. So I should probably... How about I go there, he comes in, I move the queen. He comes in here, I'm happy if he wants to take my bishop, I'll capture, recapture. Oh, okay, well he's gone for just an attack. Oh, that's actually better because it's covering this square, look. That means that my queen now has to abandon the defense of the knight. However, if he captures now, I capture his knight. And I don't have to recapture the bishop immediately. Then the bishop can escape and my pawn structure remains intact. So what's he going to do? He can't go there, 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 I'll take him. Huh. This is getting complex now. Wow. Okay, my bishop's trapped, right? So I take the knight, he takes the bishop, I move my knight. But if I take the knight, he's got this. Then I've got knight takes. Which is okay. Alright, let's see. Pawn fork. Are you going to be attracted to that? In fact, his best move, yeah. See, what he should have done is capture the knight first. And then that would have been bad for me, actually. Alright, so do we capture with the bishop or the queen? I'm inclined to think bishop, because it comes with an immediate attack on there. If queen, we might have an exchange of queens, which is also okay. Interesting little exchange there. I have to go back to that one, because I think I think my opponent missed a trick there. Right, so he's got an attack on my rook. Let's just slide the rook over, counterattack the bishop. Now he's going to have to think about his bishop. He's going to have to go back there or there. Either way, I've got bishop takes g2, attacking his rook. And making a mess, busting a hole right in his king's bodyguard. This is not great. I mean, it's possible. He has no light squared bishop now, so I'm happy that my king's on a light square, I'm happy that my queen's on a light square, and I have threats going on. Wow, he really likes his counterattacks, doesn't he? Yeah, my bishop's still actually trapped, so that's less than ideal. But I do have a bishop. I mean, I can just grab his bishop now. Yeah, and this is one of those key areas where beginners really need to stop, just pull up on the brakes, stop, and think it through, right? I'm attacking his bishop. He's counterattacking my bishop, right? My bishop is actually trapped. It has no safe squares to go to, right? So, take the bishop. Let him take this. Let him take my trapped piece. Then I'll simply double up my rooks. I mean, I have options as well. I can capture that pawn and force the rook here, then trade rooks maybe. I can grab the pawn first, or I can put my rook across here. I'm going to play that move. I'm going to let him grab another pawn. He's feeling greedy. Okay, now this move, king can't capture because it's defended by the queen, right? So I'm attacking his rook. His rook moves here. I capture. Queen can't recapture because I have another rook behind it. And that's looking quite bad now. I'm a bishop and 2 pawns in front. And his best option actually is to allow the bishop to capture the rook. If he tries to run away, that's worse. Because then I capture this rook with check and a fork on the queen. And if queen captures, boom, he's lost his queen. and then his king's got to go to h2. Right, so rationally, he can't try and run with the rook. He has to let me capture. But then I also have this other idea of this bishop first attack, right? Bishop to there, then queen in there, mate. And that is nasty. Bishop first, mate. Always interesting. You don't often get a chance to play it, but if you do, you know, it's definitely worth logging in your mind anyway, this pattern. Common idea, you know, particularly if, say, your opponent's fianchettoed their bishop and the bishop's no longer there. Yeah, just this pattern. Bishop first into the corner where it's still defended by the queen, and then the queen follows up, defended by the bishop. And it can be an unstoppable mate. He's taken a pawn. Huh. I'm inclined just to recapture, I think, because that maintains the issue. So do I take with a pawn or a knight? Let's move the knight. It just moves it ever so slightly closer to the action. He still has his problem. Rook is still under attack. So this is not nice now for white. Now, if I move my bishop here, can he prevent checkmate on the next move? I think his only option would be to push f3. And that square is defended by the knight and the rook and the queen. So I think the way to go is probably to capture the rook. That will leave me a full rook up once he recaptures. If I do this and he pushes f3, let's think this through. Then he's broken the defense of my bishop, so I'm going to have to sack the bishop. So I can't see that working, so I'm just going to grab the rook. Now, how do you recapture? Is it going to be the queen or what? My knight can come in now. We might trade knights, all good. This pawn's also hanging. Don't have any good checks right now. What about this though? Rook here. He could trade his queen for two rooks, which is slightly better for white. But then I'm left with a queen and a knight against a rook and a knight. I also have to be careful about the back rank issue as well, of course. Another option is queen takes c3. This is quite forcing though, I like it. Because the queen's got nowhere she can go and defend the rook. And there's no check. So if queen takes rook, rook takes queen, rook takes rook, king f8. Let's do it. Who said the Berlin defense was boring? But that's a free rook now, yeah? There's no threat from the queen. Alright, I'll just grab the rook. Then I might just grab the knight and simplify. So if I grab the knight, king recaptures. I've then got queen h1. And that could be mate, actually. That'd be a nice mate, wouldn't it? Alright, let's try this. Again, the queen, there's no threat there. I don't know why the queen went there. And mate. It is. Beauty. That's a lovely checkmate. Really nice one. Okay, well there you go. I've won myself 1 rating point, which right now is very welcome. I dumped about 11 or 12 earlier on today. Just lost against a low rated player, hung a bishop. Silly, silly, silly move. But this is satisfying. Okay, so let's go back, because there's that one particular issue here. Berlin defense, everybody yawns. Bishop comes out, castles, castles, pins. Pins, pins, pins. And here he drops a piece. And I've made videos recently about trapping pieces. There have been a couple of piece traps recently, and I've walked into it myself here. See, with this move, kicking the knight, hitting the knight, I've taken away one of the escape squares from my bishop. Knight comes out, attack the knight, knight moves, attack the knight, and here I've just covered up the second reverse square. This was a good move, and I didn't spot it. Because he's taken away, not only is he attacking my queen, he's also guarding this square on e7. So I move here now, counter-attacking the knight. Okay, so now if bishop takes, I'm just going to take the knight, and I don't have to recapture. I'll let the bishop escape. But this is, now he traps my bishop. Very good move. So I grab the knight. Hang on, so, okay. Right, so now there is the opportunity of a pawn fork. All right, now, however, I've just won my second piece. Okay, so now if pawn fork, I can sacrifice my knight and save my knight. I really don't want this. Okay, now what white should have done here, because what he played was this, and then I sack the knight and I get 2 pawns for my knight. I'm happy. I'm still up basically a piece and a pawn, and I've got 2 very good bishops, and my king is safe, and all life is just good. And now he comes in and blunders his other bishop. I'm quite happy for him to take my dark square bishop, which had no prospects anyway, had no safe squares. Right, so what should he have done? Here, what he should have done is capture the knight first. Then he's threatening to capture here. Now if I capture the bishop, that's unpleasant. My dark square bishop is still trapped, so you know, what have I got? I can't really sack the knight, because then the bishop takes, and here material is equal all of a sudden, yeah? And I'll be quite happy playing white from this position. So here he should have captured the knight. Then what would I have played? I'm still up a piece for a pawn temporarily. However, my bishop is unhappy. So I would probably sack the bishop. Then if he's got any sense, he'll probably use his bishop to recapture. And material again is equal. So there you go. Yeah, interesting puzzle there. Lovely checkmate though. Nice interesting game. Hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. See you soon.